Well, I'm the amateur logician, and in this video we're going to work on a problem from discrete mathematics dealing with propositional logic. And here we're given the proposition that overall happens to be a conditional, and our goal is to prove that that proposition in fact is a tautology. Now recall that a tautology is always true. Now, one way in propositional logic that we can prove that a proposition is a tautology is by constructing a truth table. And insofar as the outcomes are always true, well, there's no false possibility we have a tautology. But here, instead, we want to prove this step by step, line by line, by using such laws as the negation law, the absorption law, the identity law, and the domination law. So what can we do here? Now, one person's derivation of this likely will look a little bit different than someone else's. But in my mind, the best way to start here, in fact, is to deal with that antecedent, because we have that not p and we have that p. Is there any way to get those together? Because if we can, if we have a not p and p, we could apply the negation law. So generally speaking, in these types of problems, we want to gather up our terms, our like terms, so to speak. So how can we do that? Well, the only way is through the distributive law, or the distributive rule. So for line 2, we can get bracket, parentheses, not p and p, close parentheses, or parentheses, not p and q, close parentheses, close brackets, arrow, q. And we did that by distribution. Now notice we have this not p and p, but that's just a contradiction. And so it's necessarily false. So for line 3, we can get bracket, something that's necessarily false, because it's a contradiction, or parentheses, not p and q, close parentheses, close brackets, arrow q, and we got that by our negation law. Now what? Well, we have a disjunction here. Now what's the truth value of that? It's going to entirely depend upon this value here. Because we know this option is false, the truth or otherwise of that disjunction entirely relies on that not p and q. So we really have the identity law. So for line 4, in the antecedent, we have parentheses, not p and q, close parentheses, arrow q. And here we apply the identity law. I think that's pretty much all we can do with that conditional. However, we can turn a conditional into a disjunction in propositional logic, since p arrow q in fact is logically equivalent to not p or q in propositional logic. In other words, we can deny the antecedent and put that denied antecedent in a disjunctive relationship with the consequent. And sometimes that's called implication. Other textbooks do not label that for whatever reason. For example, I believe the Rosen textbook on discrete mathematics just says it's a logical equivalency. They don't call it an implication. But anyways, so for 5, first we will deny the antecedent. So not parentheses, not p and q, close parentheses, or q. And that is a logical equivalency, sometimes called, as I said, an implication. Great. Now notice we have the denial of this conjunction, so we should apply De Morgan's law, or De Morgan's rule. So for 6, we'll get not P or not Q. That's in parentheses, or Q. And that's just by De Morgan. We have these double negatives. So let's just clean this up. For 7, we'll get parentheses, P or not Q, close parentheses, or Q. And that's because we have a double negation. So we have P or not Q or Q. The parentheses doesn't really matter, so we can move those however we like. And what do we want to do? We want to group like terms together, so to speak. So for line 8, we get P or parentheses, not Q or Q. And that's the associative rule, or association. But what is not Q or Q? That's necessarily true because of the law of excluded middle. In other words, we have the negation law. So for line 9, we can get P or something that's necessarily true by the negation law. But now we have P or something that's necessarily true. So, since one option we know is absolutely true, we know this disjunction as a whole is necessarily true. So for line 10, we can say, therefore, we do have a tautology because this is the domination law. And that concludes that proof.